Hello everyone, good to see you again. And no time like the present. It sure feels like spring outside, but I know it's not. However, it is time to do some seed starting. I like to wait till the end of March, even beginning of April, and that's because the nature of, when you get things big enough, then you have to transplant them into a bigger container and then transplant them again into a bigger container. There's a lot of time and a lot of space needed to do such things. And I'm trying to time this so that by the time these seeds are big enough and I'll still have time to harden them out, hopefully we are past our last frost date here. I'm in zone 5B in Iowa, and I don't start a whole lot of seeds indoors, to be honest. I've got the setup here behind me for growing seeds in the basement with some grow lights. I have a couple other grow lights scattered around, but again, space and time is an issue. But let me show you some of the things that we can start now, okay? I'm looking at Euringium. So I got a couple of these from Johnny's Select Seeds. So this one says, 10 to 16 weeks before last frost date. You don't cover it with soil, it's just surface sow this, and then you have to transplant into containers, but it's going to be 5 to 8 weeks until anything like that is even required. I've also got lobelia, and again, I haven't tried growing a lot of these things before, so these I got from Pine Tree Garden Seeds, and the directions there, and again, this is an annual. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost date. Sow on surface. That's another one of those just surface sow things. They don't want to have cover there. They need light, and they want 65 to 75 degrees soil temperatures. That to me says turn on a little heat element, and I do have one of those available under there. And then my last one, at least for sowing now, some hybrid geraniums. I always save geraniums. I usually buy just the plant itself at different garden centers, and I've overwintered those indoors for a number of years, mostly successful. But this was something a little bit different. It says 7 to 9 weeks before planting out, keep the soil surface moist on this one, and again, soil range of 60 to 75 degrees. So I think that's, again, it's not a surprise. These are things that prefer warm weather. They're not naturally here in Iowa. I have a number of other seeds for the garden, but a number of these are frankly to be sown outdoors. The poppies, I missed a packet. So this one is Champagne Bubbles White. I'm going to sow it outdoors now. Just, put it so that it's in contact with the dirt. I know we'll get some more cold snaps, and I don't know that that's necessarily a deal breaker if we don't have it, but certainly we have enough time to have those germinate. I also have Larkspur, Vickers Mead, Angelica. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be awesome. Miss Wilmont's Ghost. This is one of these that I heard about. I'd never heard of this before, but this comes from watching Monty Don, my garden hero, and Gardener's World. And it's named after a real person who used to just take seeds, and when she'd go on garden tours with her friends, she'd just sprinkle them around the garden. And the ghost would be that, wow, you'd see the next spring. Where did those plants come up? I know I didn't plant those. Well, this was her nod to pollinators and natural plants. And I think they're a stunning plant. But just the fact that that's how they germinate tells me that's what they prefer. They don't flower until the summer or late fall, but they're a biennial. But I think they prefer that hot, cold. It's an outdoor rugged plant. Pollinators love it, so I'm going to give it a go. Same thing with Cosmos. I've got a couple different varieties of Cosmos here. I do have a type of sunflower, Helianthus. And this one, because they can sow relatively quickly, 7 to 14 days, germinate, I'm going to wait a little bit to sow that one. And again, hollyhocks, I'm going to sow those outdoors, not just yet, but I'm thinking about that. And here is a morning glory. I know you think I'm crazy. Once you sow a morning glory, it's your friend for life. They can be quite invasive. I know that hummingbirds love it, pollinators love it. This is a color called chocolate. I've not seen something like this. Who knows if it'll even work. But these are best, just sow them outdoors. And if they work, fine. If not, fine. If I don't like it, I can pull the little seedlings. These will come up. I'm pretty confident about that, so I'm not too worried about it. But these are for later. Now, I also have some additional things that I'd like to start indoors, or could start outdoors, but like salvia, this needs to start indoors, but it's a little early for that. Same thing with impatiens. Zinnias I've sown outdoors before and had great luck with that. I've got hybrid cherry tomatoes, white dill, and nasturtiums here. But again, I'm gonna wait just a little bit to sow those. Because my fear is they'll take off, and then about the time that I go on vacation and these don't get watered, I'll come back and they'll be dead. This has happened before. So I'm going to wait just a little bit to make sure that I will be here and fully committed to this, and it'll work. That's the thought anyway. So, separate packs, 3 different sets of seeds. Why do I do this to myself every year? Yeah, I've also got a bunch of plants coming that I've mail ordered, things you don't really find in garden centers around here. Oh, I do my share of plant buying at local garden centers. I know that you know what I mean. We can't resist the lure. So anyway, those will be coming later too, but I thought let's just do this. It'll be kind of nice. It'll be energizing. It'll be exciting to have some things sowing and growing indoors. I look outside and I just see spring. I think it's going to be a record high temperature again today. And then you look at the long range forecast and we're dumping back down in the single digits. So that's Iowa, in March and April. It's just, who knows? I certainly don't. Anyway, let's see what we can do. You ready? We're going to get started. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to pre-moisten my soil. And this is just what I use. I just got it at my local garden store, and it's just seed starter. It's lightweight, fluffy, doesn't have any nutrition in it, because again, this is just so that the seeds have a free run in the soil. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. But I am going to pre-moisten it. And I'm using a new grow system this year, something I got from Vigo. I'll show you that. But it comes with a dome over it. And this is a type of really durable plastic. I know plastic, I know. But it looks like this is going to last for a while. It has free, open bottoms here. It's very durable. A waterproof bottom. And then little domes that go over the top to hold the moisture in. So I'll be looking forward to trying that and seeing how it works. The system I had the last couple of years when I'd try it, there were these foamy, spongy type of little bitty, the size of my finger, cells that you had to pre-soak, and then you drop them in these styrofoam holes, and the seeds would take off. You had to keep them moist. They would dry out so quickly. And also I noticed the seeds were forever bound in that. They're supposed to decompose outdoors, but I'm telling you, there's some things I found months later that still have that foamy, spongy thing and all the roots bound up in it. So I'm gonna try something else this year and see how that works. All right, so first step though, let's pre-moisten this dry mix. It's very fluffy and fine. I'll show you, let me get you down here. All right, so again, this is my water that I have pre-treated with some water conditioner that I use for my fish tank. It's just to remove chlorine and the hard minerals and that type of thing. It's just more of a neutralizer than anything else. Just takes a couple of drops in a gallon of water, So if it's good for the fish, it's good for the plants. That's kind of my rule. But I use this to water my plants here at home and also the seedlings. So I think that'll be good. So again, just watering this soil, moistening it up. It's not going to be, you know, wringing wet or anything like that. And again, this stuff, you'll see, no matter how damp it gets, it doesn't really want to ball up and be too hard. So we're just putting a little bit of water in here. Okay, I think that'll work for now. Mix that in. So it's thoroughly damp. Not soaking wet or anything, but damp. So I think it'll also take up the moisture a little bit better that way too. And you can probably hear the dogs in the background because, again, Chihuahua, you always know where Gabe is. He is around. I know, I hear you, darling. And we'll speed it up here because this is kind of a tedious process. Just putting in the dampened soil, packing it down, filling each one of these cells, except for the section in the middle because that one's blank. But it was a fairly easy process. The only other thing now is packing in these seeds, which are so tiny. At least I can, well, this was a little bit easier than some of the other seeds that you'll see coming up here, because at least these are a light yellow color, so they stand out in the soil. What I'd like to do here is put at least 2 seeds in each cell. And that's because, you know, it's rare to get 100% germination. That doesn't always happen. I don't like to put more than 2 seeds in each cell because that way then the crowding doesn't really work in the favor of these seeds because they're competing with each other then for root space. So 2 seeds in each cell, and that tends to work the best. So, and these can be covered with soil. Not all of them are that way. Some of the smaller seeds that are more like dust, those need light to germinate. So those, you have to be careful about how you water them, and also making sure they just sit ever so lightly on the very surface of each cell. Kind of a tedious process. Okay, next, the Euryngum. So these tiny little seeds. Now these just have to be surface sowed. They don't like to be covered apparently. Let me show you how small these are. You see those? Pretty tiny. Okay, let's surface sow these. And again, pre-moistened soil. I'm going to put a couple in each one. Whoop, no, hello. They need light to germinate. So I'll do that here. And I'm going to thin it out as we get, if we get any germination. There's one. Putting at least 2 to each cell so that maybe I'll get lucky and something will come up. That's my hope. Yes. All right. There you go. Okay, and again, these will all be bottom watered. Whoop, better put it on the label. This is otherwise known as sea holly, but let's see what we've got. Blue glitter Euryngum. Put these over there. And here we go. And Lobelia. Also, these need to be surface sowed. No wonder, I'm like, there's nothing in there. I can't, oh, you're kidding. Wow, that's a bit of a ripoff. Check these seeds out. Can you even see them? Look at that. What? Ugh. Again, surface sow. Gotta make sure these aren't, covered. They need light to germinate. You can sort of see them. There's such a pale yellow. Ugh, they're hard to grab. And if we get this to even germinate. All right. Put one in each one of these. Because again, I'm not that optimistic. Wish there was more. That's all they gave me. Oh, here's a little one stuck there. Right now, is that it? That's, believe it or not, that's it. Okay. Just not much of an optimist here, but we'll try it. And not all of these got a seed in them, so we'll try our best. Okay. Now I have allowed the water to soak in here, as you can see. But before I set that on the heat mat and put in under the grow lights, I still have these two filled cells that need some seeds, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and sow at least one variety of these flowers here, of these impatiens. Might as well. What the heck? Then at least I'll have a full tray of seeds, some things to get started here. And I can just, spray some water on top of that to go ahead and water them in. So let's take a look here. Impatiens. All right, let me bring you down. Again, very small seeds. Okay. And this is another one of those just, I believe, surface sow types of seeds. Usually things that are this small are that way. Press into the soil. It says it does need light to germinate and warm temperatures. So I'm going to go ahead and just lightly, boy, this is like dust. Can you see this? I mean, wow. I'm afraid to tip it down even too much because it's, have to breathe lightly, so I'm not gonna, oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, that's too many. Yikes. of these, out, put it there. Man. And he's getting the fingernails, and then you're like, okay. Oh. Just trying to sew these on the surface here, see what I can get to germinate. Super delicate seeds. Not as delicate a mist as I was hoping. It's making a mess. Oh yeah, all right. Okay. I think that's gonna work. And patience. Accent burgundy. So 319. Okay, I don't know if that's going to read correctly. Probably backwards. That's always how that works. So, okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to put the lid on this to hold the moisture. So, I have some dampened seed starting mix left and a couple of impatiens, and a couple of dahlias that I want to plant. And, you know, these tubers look pretty good. I do have some more out in the garage on storage right now, but I'm going to stagger these a little bit and just kind of see how they go. I've got a couple big pots, just nursery pots. These are nice and firm. Boy, look at the size of that. And then we have another one as well. Now, these should all be Joyful Investment dahlias. A collarette dahlia. That's what these should all be. But I'm going to go ahead and start these. I'm going to put in some seed starter mix as well as some actual potting soil. Let's get this going here. We're going to have to be planted too deeply. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Let's try this. Some of these. Now I figure what I do, since these are going to be too big to get under the grow lights. I do have some of the grow lights, but I'm going to put these in my sunroom. Just set them in this area that has some, drainage rock. It's just decorative, but a place in the warm sun in my sunroom, and just let the sun warm these into restarting, I guess. Okay, get this going. Potting soil. These don't have to be completely buried, but let's see how far we can get this to go around. I'll take these upstairs, water them in. Let's see what we've got. Add some water. They don't have to be completely soaked. And again, I'll set these in a sunny spot upstairs and see how these take off. So here's the spot in my sunroom that I'm going to put these. Just sit right here and get some good old-fashioned sun. There we go. Well, try to get it level at least. And then this guy. Well, there they are, all hooked up now under the grow lights and the heat mats. It's a timed light now that goes on at 6 in the morning and comes off at 6 at night. So we'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, and the dahlias are upstairs, as you saw in the sunroom. So I'm going to take advantage of the nice weather and actually plant some poppies. It's crazy late, but you know, it's going to be fine. And if they come up at all, I'm tickled pink. Hybrid poppy, champagne bubbles. Worth a try. It is Chihuahua sunbathing kind of weather, isn't it? Yes, it is. Chihuahua sunbathing. It's all good. Oh, I have some little teeny tiny flowers coming up. I think those are tiny little hepatica, which is lovely. And I need a nice sunny spot I haven't used to put the poppies. And I think I'm going to try right here. So if you can help me remember that. Okay. Teeny tiny. It's like sowing dust and you'll never see them. This is why I usually mix them with rocks. But at least that ring of rocks will remind me, don't put mulch on top because they need light to germinate. So I'll have to pull the mulch away from that area. I will keep you posted. I hope you subscribe so you get notifications if these things actually start working, actually start growing. And please let me know if you're starting seeds, when you started them, what you started. Are there things that you've tried to grow that you just never seem to have any luck? I've had issues with that as well. But I try not to focus on the negative. Every year is an opportunity for the positive, right? Glass half full, or bucket half full of dirt anyway. Hey, work what you got. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I do hope that you subscribe. And as I said, will keep you posted. So, happy growing. See you soon. Gaby, should we go home? Get some dinner? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? What do you think, baby? Should we go home and get some dinner? Yes? Come on, let's do it.